Parkside Cabin Rentals, affordable rustic luxury in the Smokies. Chalets and log cabins, from intimate to grand. In town or in total seclusion, we can fit any need you have. Visit ParksideCabinRentals.com. Plan your vacation today.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control can help protect your home from animals, trapping and relocating wildlife, fixing the damage they cause, and preventing them from invading your home in the first place. Call Southeast Termite and Pest Control and ask about our many services.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.
Let's talk Tennessee football. This is the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Now, your host, John Pennington.
Indeed. Welcome into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals. As our voiceover guy just said, we are going to be talking about Tennessee, Georgia. They played this afternoon at 3:30. As you know, we're going to talk about Tennessee's offense. We're going to discuss whether or not Tennessee really is better than they looked against Florida. We've got some over-unders with our gambling expert who's in there. And instead of making predictions, we'll talk about what Tennessee can do to keep this thing close. Yeah, looks like we're in for that kind of a year. Let's dive right in. First segment of our program brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Folks, check out their website because they offer it all, from cozy cabins to cabins big enough for corporate retreats, mountain views, hot tubs, fireplaces, and if you want entertainment, they've got HD TVs, pool tables, plus you get free parking in downtown Gatlinburg when you visit there. Oh man, if you're staying in the Gatlinburg area, staying in the Smokies, Parkside Cabin Rentals. All right, want to welcome in our panelists for today. We have Josh Ward and Jimmy Himes from Sports Animal, WNML 990. Tried to get it all in there. Welcome. Right down there we have former VFL Bobby Scott, or I guess just VFL. That would make you a former ball for life, so you're still for life.
I think.
Bobby, good. You haven't left them yet, have you? Okay, all right. Tennessee comes in 2-2. They have wins over East Tennessee State and UTEP. They have a pair of 26-point losses to West Virginia and Florida. UT turned the ball over 6 times last week in their loss to Florida. Didn't look like they were ready when the lights came on. A lot of people this week, Philip Fulmer late in the week, have said Tennessee's not as bad as they looked against Florida. Are they? Are they better than they looked against Florida? Are they the same as what we saw against Florida? What are your thoughts on this Tennessee team?
Well, John, to paraphrase what Bill Parcells said, you are what the score at home at night says you are.
Right.
Is that close enough?
Yeah.
So I would say Tennessee should not have lost by 26 points at home against Florida, but that is what occurred, and Tennessee did hurt itself with the turnovers. Florida played a role, though, in some of those turnovers, hitting Jarrett Garantano, the screen pass that was intercepted. The defensive lineman did a really good job of going and getting the football. And you also had 2 Florida defenders that were about to blow up the play. And who's to say that Tennessee wouldn't have punted away and Florida still would have gone halfway down the field and scored anyway. So Tennessee shouldn't have had a 26-point loss, but it's happened twice now, Jimmy, and that's where Tennessee is.
I think they're better than that because they're not going to have 6 turnovers and a safety in every game they play, right? So I think they are better. How much better, that's the question. But that was a bad performance. I think every year a team's going to have a couple of games where they play over their head, a couple of games where they play poorly, and then the other 8 are about what they are. And also, look, I know they lost by 26 to West Virginia and to Florida. West Virginia is a really good football team. I don't think Florida's that good. So I think Tennessee's better than that because, again, I don't see them having a game where they commit that many turnovers again.
Bobby, your thoughts? Is this team better than it looked against Florida?
I agree with Jimmy. I think it's a little bit better. If you take 4 of those turnovers away and just have 2, then the score is going to be much different. And I think this week, as long as we don't turn the ball over, we're not going to beat them. But I think we can play with them.
Okay. I would simply say, if you think they're better than they looked against Florida, then you're basically saying what Bobby said: take a few turnovers away. But you can play that the other way with the West Virginia game, where they had a touchdown drop in the first half, 2 wide open guys for touchdowns that Will Greer missed in the first half. So you could have been beaten worse by West Virginia. So I'll go with what Parcells says, and I'll just stick with it. You are what you are. I think we're in for another long season. I had thought 5-7, and maybe we're talking Could they get to 6-6 by year's end? Now I don't see much chance of that, but we shall see moving forward.
Well, I never liked Parcells, so I'm not going to buy into the bull.
I want to talk specifically about the offense. Jeremy Pruitt questioned play calling a couple times this week. Talked about being too predictable on first downs, which they were. Also commented on a play set they were in on the interception, the first one by Garantano that was the screen pass that didn't work. So you've had him question the offense a little bit. I want to look at some numbers. All right. Ty Holton, first-time play caller for Tennessee. He was the offensive coordinator at Western Kentucky, but he didn't call plays. Bobby Petrino did. Well, actually, that was under the guy that replaced Petrino, wasn't it?
At Western Kentucky?
Yeah.
Jeff Brom.
Yeah, Jeff Brom, who's now at Purdue. Yeah. Getting my timelines mixed up. At any rate, he didn't call plays. But you can see there the pass-to-rush ratio, 1.2 to 1. So they actually passed a little bit more than they ran. At Southern Cal, he didn't call plays, but he was the pass game coordinator for the Trojans. And they're pretty much even. Pretty much even. In both those cases, that means you're wide open in this day and age. When you're 1-to-1, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Then you come down here, and this year, more than 2-to-1 rush to pass. All right, so is that him realizing what his talent is and dealing with it? Is that Jeremy Pruitt, who's coming from Alabama, where last 2 years when he was down there, it was 1.6 rush to pass, where they ran it more? Is that Jeremy Pruitt's commenting? Helton's not running. It doesn't look like what he's used to. Whose offense is this? Do we know at this point?
It's nobody's.
Nobody's
going to want to.
Nobody wants to claim
right?
it. Yeah.
I think a part of it. I think what Pruitt wants to do is to establish a team that can run the football and sort of be like what Alabama was. He doesn't have the players or the personnel to do that. Mm-hmm. To me, one of the strengths of the wide receivers, I would use them. I would throw more. But I think he's trying to toughen this group up and play a little bit of that Alabama system. And in my opinion, John, I mentioned this to you before, I think when you become predictable in your play calling, you make a weak offensive line look even worse. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's happened so far. I do not believe they can beat hardly anybody when they actually threw 7 passes out of 33 first downs. One was a pass interference. I count that as a pass attempt. You can't do that. And you gained 2.2 yards on first down? That's terrible.
Had 15 drives and started 13 of them with a run.
The thing that Jimmy said is predictable, and that's what they were. They were running on first down. They were running on second down. They were dropping back on third down and trying to throw. And Garantano was getting his fanny handed to him. I mean, you got to throw on first down to keep from getting your quarterback
keep the defense
killed.
honest. Yeah,
that's right.
I just wonder. Again, you're 4 games in, so you're a third of the way into the season. You got a first-year head coach who's managing. He's even calling plays on defense. How involved is he on offense? And they said in practice this week, the parts you could see, he was a little bit more with the offense this week. Okay, is he now getting more with the offense? What's Helton think about that? It bears watching. I'm not saying there's trouble. I'm just saying that the next month's probably going to be very bad, and we're going to be asking, what's wrong here, what's wrong here? So I guess I'm getting in there early. I think this may be one to watch in terms of your offense because, Josh, to me, it doesn't look like, whatever they're doing, it's not working.
Yeah, and let's see over the next few weeks. Let's see starting this afternoon, I would say. You're in a position where Tennessee is a big underdog against Georgia, will be against Auburn, will be against Alabama. In those kinds of games, what do you need to do? Probably throw the football to catch back up. That's the expectation going in. So we'll tell. What kind of approach does Tennessee take this afternoon? What do they take over the next few weeks? Because I think Tennessee will need to throw the football. I think they've needed to in the previous few weeks, but what have they done? They've stuck to the run.
Yeah. Well, and when they've been in positions where they had to throw it, they're not very good picking up blitzes. Whether that's a quarterback, offensive line, running backs, they've been poor at that.
Which has to affect their approach and what they're doing offensively.
Exactly. Yeah. So they get behind and they start trying to throw every down, they might be in trouble a little bit with getting your quarterback hurt.
Well, yeah, I think Bobby touched on it. I mean, how many hits did Garantano take? I mean, he was getting hit in max protect. So could be a very long season for Garantano in terms of bumps and bruises and hopefully nothing worse than that. He is expected to be healthy and good to go. Wearing a brace in practice toward the end of the week. We'll see if he goes into the game today wearing that brace and what impact that has on him come game time. When we come back, Tyler Wyatt joins us, and we're going to talk about over-unders on 3 key matchups in today's game. How can Tennessee keep this game close? A lot of it's going to ride on these 3 key matchups. Come back, we'll tell you what they are.
Did you know English Mountain Spring Water has been named the world's best tasting water? That a French competition declared it a gourmet water? Did you know English Mountain Spring Water is bottled in Dandridge? And it's available for commercial and residential water service across East Tennessee. Clear, pure water with no aftertaste. From an East Tennessee source and a local company providing unmatched service. English Mountain Spring Water.
The Lodge at Five Oaks, conveniently located within walking distance to some of the area's best attractions, restaurants, and shops. Call now for special rates throughout the week or visit thelodgeat5oaks.com to plan your next getaway today.
Since 1971, Southeast Termite and Pest Control has offered free inspections, multiple pest control options, and guaranteed termite prevention and correction. Times have changed. Our service hasn't. Southeast Termite and Pest Control.
Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to money damages for injuries caused by the negligence of others. How much money often depends on the diligence, skill, and experience of your attorney. A Knoxville law firm has been helping injured people for more than 30 years.
At Bill Hodson Associates, we've collected millions of dollars from insurance companies that didn't want to treat injured people fairly. Is your case worth more than the insurance company says? Call Bill Hodson Associates and find out.
When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
Just 60 miles from Knoxville, adventure meets sanctuary at the historic Topoco Lodge. Originally opened in 1930, this renovated, reborn mountain retreat offers cozy, well-appointed rooms, cabins, and suites, waterfront dining, our warm signature service, and plenty of outdoor sports and activities, all within our riverside, creekside, and forest setting. Experience the historic Topoco Lodge, where adventure meets sanctuary.
Parkside Cabin Rentals, affordable, rustic luxury in the Smokies. Hot tubs, pool tables, fireplaces inside and out. Our cabins are perfect for relaxing or entertaining. Visit ParksideCabinRentals.com. Plan your vacation today.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment of our program brought to you by English Mountain Spring Water. You might think water is water, and to be honest, that's what I thought. Now, I, like some water is better than others, I guess, but how can one water from an East Tennessee spring be consistently rated as one of the world's best? I mean, how do you talk best water in the world? That's what I thought when I went up to English Mountain. They called me, I went up, I tasted their water, and then I knew. It's the same thing you'll find out if you try their water for residential or commercial service, and that is 0 aftertaste. I can't really make a 0 at this angle. There, how about that? Sort of a 0. There's no aftertaste with English Mountain Spring Water. Go to their website, check them out. You will be very happy that you did. It is spectacular water. Want to welcome in the last member of our panel today over at the 3forthemoney.win board, Tyler Wyatt, of course, a professional handicapper based here in Knoxville. He's got folks all over the country that turn to him for his prediction services, which you can sign up for if you go to 3forthemoney.win. We usually talk him into giving us some free information on Saturdays before the game. And Tyler, in terms of the key matchups, what's the first one over there? Over, under 6.5.
Sacks and tackles for a loss. We're going to combine the two. Tennessee giving up 8 tackles for loss per game right now, just over a sack. Georgia, one of the best teams in the country, struggling right now as a defensive front, only averaging 0.75 sacks per game and just over 3 tackles for loss. We kind of wadded those up, and this is the number that we come out with. 6.5, we don't want to push, but this is sacks and tackles for loss combined.
Okay, is Georgia due is kind of the question. You shrug. Is that what you were going to say?
Well, part of my thinking was if Tennessee gets behind, are they going to keep running
yeah,
as opposed to throwing? That's where I'm going to say that Tennessee will allow more than 6.5. I'm going over on that.
I am too. I'm going to go over. Georgia hasn't been racking up those numbers, but UTEP and ETSU stuck you for some losses. I think Georgia is better than UTEP and ETSU. I'll say over.
It's kind of a something has to give number this week, right? Well, I'm going to give the advantage to Georgia at home against Tennessee.
Bobby, you going to be Mr. Positive or are you going to be honest?
No, I'm not going to be Mr. Positive. I'm going to say over 8 probably.
Unfortunately. All right. Very good.
When you put the loss, tackles for a loss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're giving them up, they're giving up tackles for loss 8 a game. Is that what you said, Tyler?
8 per game, yeah.
All right, which way are you going on this? Which way should we have gone?
Jarrett's mobility issues are going to be a concern for me. I think this has to be over. It feels like there's going to be a couple of sacks there, maybe a breakout game defensively, and tackles for loss. I do think Tennessee will try to run the ball. How long, I'm not sure, but I think this one goes pretty easily over.
Okay, the second one over there, 250.5. I'm going to guess that's not Tennessee.
It's a big number.
Well, it is in reverse. All right.
It's in reverse. Rushing yards allowed by Tennessee. Georgia offense it's a run-heavy offense. They run nearly 2 out of every 3 plays. They're going to run the football. Tennessee, defensively, those stats look really good. Tennessee on the year has not given up a ton of yards on the ground. That's because they've not played anyone that good. Georgia is going to try to run the ball. This is their season average, 250.5. With what Tennessee has given us to work with, it's not a lot, but do they get to their average on the season, 250.5?
I'll say over because I think Georgia gets the lead and just runs it and runs it and runs it. So I'll say over.
I'm actually going to go under. I'll say that early on, Georgia works on its passing game a little bit. So
how brutal is this?
Work on your
Tennessee's
passing
now
game against Tennessee.
Tennessee's now the team that is like a warm-up for the other teams.
But I don't.
No, no, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting on you. I'm commenting on the state of reality.
That's where the situation is right now.
Okay, which way are you going?
I'm going to go over because Georgia's going to work on the run game. I think in the last 20 to 25 minutes, Georgia will run for at least 150 yards because they're going to grind it out. They're going to have a lead. They're just going to run it. In the last part of the game, Tennessee won't stop.
And Kirby Smart hasn't shown that he's really a guy that he doesn't spur you. He doesn't go for the throat and keep throwing on you. Until now. No. But anyway, Bobby, what do you got?
I agree with it. I mean, it's got to be over. They're going to have to run the ball, just to keep Tennessee in the game, I guess. I tell you, it's just frustrating when you sit there and look at it. I mean, as a former player, I mean, it is frustrating.
Oh, I got fans that have been sending me notes all week saying that. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I will say is we put up a poll this week that said, hey, you're going to watch and get mad, you're going to watch and get numb, you're going to watch and pull for them, or you're just not going to watch. And everybody, it was like 90% said, well, I'm still going to watch. So nobody's ducking out yet, but boy, they're in for some painful afternoons, I'm afraid. So Josh is the only one that says under on that one. Tyler, which way are you going on that one?
I think Jimmy nailed it. The last 15, 20 minutes, Justin Fields gets in this game. He's going to be coached like it's the first quarter, and he's a guy that can absolutely run the football. I do think they get a lot of yardage there in the fourth quarter. Is it going to be intentional? Is it going to be running the score up? Not sure, but I do think this one goes easily over.
Okay, so the last one over there is 14.5.
This points by Tennessee, points scored by the Volunteers. The last 9 SEC games have been ugly. Tennessee has scored single digits in 3 of those 9 games, and 1/3. Their scoring average just happens to be 14.5 points. It's a Georgia defense over the last year, and I guess about 1/3 has not given up a ton of points. Will Tennessee score just over 2 touchdowns? We can't put it on 14. We added the half, so we can't tie. It's 14.5.
Bobby, I'll start at your end. Which way are you going? Tennessee going to score more than 14?
I don't think we can against them. I'm going to say under.
Okay. I'm going under. Was it 41-0 last year? Under.
Okay. It can't be under by much though because you took the Vols.
Oh, it doesn't matter what I took.
On Sunday. Yeah, okay. Right.
This is a different show.
Let me make that clear. On Sunday, you took the Vols to cover our Cavaliers line. I want to make it clear he didn't take the Vols to win last Sunday. We didn't want people calling the men in white coats and nets on you. He said Jimmy took the Vols. Josh, which way are you going?
Yeah, so can Tennessee get from nothing to 15 or more from last year to this year, how can I say yes? So I'd go under 14.5.
I'd like to be positive, but I'm going to say play the odds, and the odds are under. I don't. Here's the thing: if you're going to get well against somebody in the SEC, I don't think it's going to be the Georgia defense, a team that wound up in the national championship game last year and was within 5 minutes of winning the thing. So I'll say under as well. Tyler, which way would you go in your professional opinion?
I'm going to go under. I think if Tennessee scores over 14.5, that means that Georgia's in the 50s. Would you rather have a game that's 55-14, or would you rather have a game that's 38-3? I'm not sure that you want to pick either of those, but I think if Tennessee goes over, it's just because it's a lot of points scored by the Bulldogs.
Well, it's hard to count on crazy plays like Tennessee turned the ball over 6 times last week. Maybe Georgia gives you a couple deep, or you take something back. But yeah, that was a positive segment. When we come back, we usually ask Tennessee will win if, and tell you how. Tennessee will keep it close if. We'll talk about that, and we'll get Tyler's official prediction. For those of you out there still waiting to place a bet on the Vols, we'll talk him into giving us a freebie. Next, go on back on the Sports Source Kickoff.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control can help protect your home from animals, trapping and relocating wildlife, fixing the damage they cause, and preventing them from invading your home in the first place. Call Southeast Termite and Pest Control and ask about our many services.
The Lodge at 5 Oaks, conveniently located within walking distance to some of the area's best attractions, restaurants, and shops. Call now for special rates throughout the week, or visit thelodge@5oaks.com to plan your next getaway today.
Just 60 miles from Knoxville, adventure meets sanctuary at the historic Topoco Lodge, featuring the Topoco Tavern with comfortable seating inside or riverside for lunch and dinner, expanded patio dining, private rooms for events, drinks on the observation deck, and at our multiple bars. Try the Carolina Mountain Trout, a Black Angus choice ribeye, or build your own hand-tossed pizza. Experience the Topoco Tavern at the historic Topoco Lodge.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to money damages for injuries caused by the negligence of others. How much money often depends on the diligence, skill, and experience of your attorney. A Knoxville law firm has been helping injured people for more than 30 years.
At Bill Hotz and Associates, we've collected millions of dollars from insurance companies that didn't want to treat people fairly. Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Are you being treated fairly? Call us and find out.
Experience you can trust.
Did you know English Mountain Spring Water has been named the world's best tasting water? That a French competition declared it a gourmet water? Did you know English Mountain Spring Water is bottled in Dandridge? And it's available for commercial and residential water service across East Tennessee. Clear, pure water with no aftertaste. From an East Tennessee source and a local company providing unmatched service. English Mountain Spring Water.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control is locally owned, locally operated, handling thousands of commercial and residential jobs all across East Tennessee. Protect your home with a free inspection and estimate from Southeast Termite and Pest Control.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment of our show brought to you by Bill Hotz and Associates. They can't unwreck your car, and they can't heal injuries once you suffer injuries in a car wreck, but they can help you recover fair compensation for your injuries and losses. The law is there to protect you. If you've been injured by a careless driver, give a call to Bill Hotz and Associates. Good folks, they are the attorneys who can help you get compensation. Bill Hotz and Associates. Want to remind you tomorrow, it's Vols versus Georgia today at 3:30, but tomorrow we'll have a complete breakdown on WATE 6 with Jimmy and Josh, Bob Hodge, Chuck Cavaleris, and then VFL's Will Overstreet, Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood, and Brian Randolph. More opinions, more topics, more fun This season, we're just going to have to go out on a limb and really out on a limb and try and make things more fun. Usually, we say in this segment, Tennessee will win if, but it looks like we're in for another long day, so I'll just say Tennessee will keep it close if. What do they have to do to keep it close?
Well, I'm going to start with probably an obvious one, but I'll say flip that turnover margin. And I say flip because Jeremy Pruitt said after the game, Tennessee needs to be +4. Well, they were -5, so that tells you how wide that gap is and where Jeremy Pruitt sees things, that you need to be +4. You realize how hard it is to do that, and Georgia's a team that actually is near the top of the SEC in turnover margin. So if Tennessee can win by a wide margin that turnover battle, then Tennessee can make it a much more competitive game.
That's a huge one, and usually there's a stat out there that I think is meaningless, but in this game, the way I think it'll be played out, I'm going to say time of possession. If Tennessee can win the time of possession, because I think Tennessee is going to try to run the football, and I think that if they can have some success on it and mount some drives, eat up some clock, keep Georgia off the field, and with that, you have to have first down efficiency. So those two things.
All right. Bobby, what's Tennessee got to do to keep this thing close?
I don't even know if they can. I mean, I've been so frustrated. I'm not, I think turnovers can keep it close. If we don't have any turnovers, you'd like to get a couple, but I'm not even thinking that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not giving up on them, but I'm just like most other former players.
Yeah.
I'm just a little
drained.
Drained. Yeah. I guess that's a good word to put it.
I think the turnover battle as well. You're going to have to get turnovers. I don't think they can do this, but run the football, which gets back to eating the clock. Run the football. That's what this Tennessee team is going to have to do moving forward. Now, I'd like to see them throw more. I don't think they can run it. But to keep it close, I think they're going to need to today.
And
so,
if you can run it fairly well, then your play action pass on first down would be a good play.
Yeah, maybe they can complete 20 passes of 6 yards. Yeah, but somehow they've got to possess the football.
Yeah. Tyler, let me ask you. You of course people pay you for your picks, but it's a few hours to kick off. You usually give us your pick. This team, let me point this out. Tennessee opened as a 32.5-point underdog. That is the same line that Georgia was favored by against MTSU about 3 weeks ago, which to me says all you need to know about the way Vegas looks at the Vols right now. Tyler, what's the line now, and which way should folks go with it?
31.5 we're seeing. It has dropped. Some money coming in on Tennessee. It's a big number. When you see SEC football and you see big numbers, a lot of people gravitate towards those underdogs because it's a tough conference. It's a Tennessee team that it's going to be a car wreck. Unfortunately, this game in a couple hours, we may need to call Bill Hotz and Associates. It hurts, though. I'm sure Bobby will agree. It hurts to see Tennessee catching that many points. It's not something that we're used to. But since Philip Fulmer has been gone, this is a team that has struggled to win as an underdog. 5 wins in the last 48 games as an underdog. It's going to be a long day, but right now 31.5 is the number that we're seeing.
And you're going?
How can you go against Georgia right now? It's a Tennessee team that has certainly struggled, but the way that Georgia's offense is clicking, some struggles that we've seen from Tennessee, it's a team in Georgia, I think, that can score as many points as they want to, and I hope that I'm wrong there.
Very good, Tyler. I appreciate it. Bobby, thank you. Jimmy, thank you. Josh, thanks. Appreciate all of you. We'll remind you that tomorrow on Channel 6, we'll be there at 11 a.m. to discuss Vols versus Georgia. We've got the full crowd right there. And then coming up next Saturday here on Fox 43, we'll be here for your open date. And next Sunday on WATE, we'll be there for the open date. And both of those shows, and we'll see, maybe somebody surprises us this afternoon and we're talking about a big win. But my guess is next Saturday and next Sunday, those two shows are going to be in-season autopsies. So I think it's going to be very interesting what we're going to be talking about the next couple of weeks, so stick with us. We will see you tomorrow on Channel 6. See you next week right back here.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.